Hello and good evening and welcome to Real Talk with the Cummings. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings.
And I'm Ariel Cummings, and we're having a wonderful week out here in Florida.
Oh my God, the weather's gorgeous, amazingly gorgeous, and it's like we live in paradise.
A person who lives in paradise, for real, is the guest that we're going to have.
Definitely,
today.
definitely. And you know what? We've had so many great guests on the show, and we've had many artists. And they bring tremendous story, all from the LGBTQ spectrum. But some artists have such a personal vision that their work takes on a universal character. Some songwriters have such an insight into the joy and frustration of everyday life that they somehow express what the rest of us are feeling too.
And some singers have some heart and soul that the sound of their voice brings a story to the life right before our very eyes. Teri Catlin is one of these rare artists, a singer/songwriter in the rock/R&B tradition whose music is original and authentic, and a live performer whose stage presence is captivative and charismatic.
I actually interviewed Teri a while back, but since our last interview, there has been lots and lots of changes in Teri's life. Now welcome to our show, Mr. Teri Catlin.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing great, thank you.
Yeah.
Good to have you
Thanks
on.
for having me back.
It's been, what, almost 2 years. I think you were the second guest when Transition
Even
Radio.
longer than that, yeah.
Wow.
It's been quite a while, and we have the guest pages, and you're on the first guest page, and you're guest number 2. So, you know, it's... I was,
barriers.
yeah, I was dying to get you back on the show. And last time we did the show, you didn't have a webcam, so we just did a call-in, and we put a picture, so I was dying to get you on camera. So here we go.
Yeah. See the scruff. Get the scruff growing here.
Yeah, a lot of changes from last time. Actually.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy about it.
And I think I went to see your show, gosh, it's probably like 3 years ago at the dive bar.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Dive Bar has been awesome enough to, host me there on a, yearly basis. They've been really supportive. So it's one of the few venues there in South Florida that do support all original music. So, kudos to Gary and Cody for giving me a platform to perform and share my music with everyone.
It's definitely a nice place. I mean, great. They have food and they have drinks. And like I said, the first time I actually met you in person was there. And it was funny because you had been following my Facebook page and had a few questions for me back then. You were thinking about transition then. And it's incredible to see how right before my very eyes.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle.
Right on. It feels really good to have finally made that decision and move forward with it. It was, a lifetime of knowing that this is what I wanted, but it was really into just making the decision to move forward and do it. I had to be so uncomfortable with the skin that you're in, I guess, to really, how some people with drugs, they have to hit rock bottom. Well, with me, it was just, I don't want to be in this skin anymore. I want to, fix my outsides to match my man brain, which I've always been my whole life, So anybody that knows me knows that. I'm just one of the guys,
So what was that moment that actually sparked that, that actual decision, like you can't continue on the way you were continuing? What actually created that?
Well, my good friend Vienna and I were talking. She had actually dated a transgender before, and we started, talking about me. And this is before, of course, that I made up my mind to do it. And just the things that were coming out, um, they were falling into place. Like my whole life, like why have I always dated straight women? I've never dated a gay woman, or they might be bi or a little confused, but for the most part, they've been straight. And I'm not like looking in a room full of women going doo 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 doo. My straight star goes off. It's just that's what I'm attracted to internally. So that kind of slid into place, and then there were a lot of other things that did too. Um, I think that for me, it was a magnitude of a bunch of different things. Um, it ultimately came down to when I made the final decision. The doctor said, your voice may fluctuate like that of a young teenage boy growing up, and it may not stay in a register. It may just, I might be a yodeler for the rest of my life or something. Um, so I actually got really kind of bummed out about that because my whole life I've been singing and writing, and um, it's always been about the music. So it came down to, do I want to sing or do I want to be happy in my own skin? And ultimately, this is what I chose. And ever since I chose that, I'm so happy I did. My music is, my voice is the same. It's just lower. So that's fine. There are some times when I can feel it kind of teetering in between notes. And it's just, it's just going to take some practice to get them to register into that pocket of that note. But I think everything's going just fine. Better than fine. So with all the ups and downs that are in it.
It's one of those scary things for a lot of trans guys actually that do perform. I've had several trans artists on, and a lot of them had to change their whole way of singing completely.
But how did that work for you? Because you were talking about how when you first started, no one told you anything.
Oh, I didn't know. And actually, I was a female bodybuilder, and I was messing with, steroids, and my voice started changing then. And I was like, I didn't even know. It's like, what's happening? Am I getting sick? What's wrong with me? And I went from being a full-on soprano to like, I couldn't sing for a few years. And then I taught myself again, and I don't think I sing that great at all. As a matter of fact,
Well, you
voice,
said you sounded like Barbara Streisand.
at one point. And
Nice.
then now it's like I sound like God knows what I sound like now. But
You sound great. What are you talking about? You did an album just earlier in the 2000s and stuff.
So is there any kind of exercise that you do to maintain range? Because you know what happens, right, with T, the vocal cords elongate.
The vocal cords what?
Elongate.
Elongate. What does that do? What does that mean?
It stretches out. It stretches them out. That's what testosterone does.
Okay, so
what do you do any kind of like ritual or exercise or something like that?
You know what? I've never done rituals or exercises before. Assigned to a label called Angels Like Rebels. It was an experimental label where they were just signing people with talent. It didn't matter your age, gender, size, anything, as long as you had raw talent. It was a funding thing. They wanted to raise like $200,000 per artist. Nobody raised that much, so they refunded everyone their money back and took the top 2 artists that made the most money. But during that time, I was blessed enough to have some vocal rehearsals with, I want to say his name was Craig. This is just going to come back to haunt me. I don't remember his name, Craig something, but he was the vocal teacher for Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, a lot of the big names. And we had a 5-hour vocal lesson, and a lot of it consisted of, learning that we use the abdominal muscles to hit those notes. It's not from the chest or the throat, which I knew that, but when he put it into a practice, we literally were like, we were doing this. We're like, and we would go on and up and up and up. Then we come down, and it would all push from your center, from your diaphragm. And that takes a lot of work. I mean, I bet you can get a 6-pack just doing that for 5 hours every day. So now that's something that I have incorporated in my healing process of, keeping it together with my singing and stuff like that. And also when I'm singing the songs, sometimes I have to sing them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, it's just I'm at the beginning of this adventure, so it's been I want to say a year and a half since I made this decision. So that I've been on testosterone. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Oh, that's exciting. And your voice, what I've done is my voice has gone really deep. So now I could sing really deep once before I could hit the soprano notes. And like
Yeah.
all those
I was noticing
exercises,
that.
like ga ga
I
ga
was
ga
noticing
ga
that
ga
with
ga,
notes.
and all this like weird stuff. That's how I taught myself to sing. I sit there in front of YouTube and watching all these like vocal lessons, and that helped me bring somewhat of a voice back. Because before I couldn't sing a note, I was like so depressed. And then I
Right.
taught myself, how to somewhat carry some sort of
I
tone.
think it's fascinating though that singing actually does come from that soul center of our body. Like real singing, when you can really hit a note, it comes from that diaphragm.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's really more spiritual, than some people think. Some people, they sing and then they use their throat and their vocal cords.
I
And
did that for years. I sang incorrectly. I sang with my throat.
Mhm.
When I was first starting out, and then I had a friend tell me to, hey, lay on the floor and now sing a long note. And what happens when you lay on the floor is you automatically sing through your diaphragm. You automatically, the air gathers from your diaphragm. So I would literally practice singing, laying on the floor, and then eventually standing up and keeping that same feelings. I didn't know what a diaphragm was back then, but it was the feeling of it. So I was able to identify with what that was and keep that going as I stood up and, keep on keeping on singing.
Yeah, our refrigerator likes to sing every now and then.
Knocks
It
from
knocks.
the
It's like
inside.
somebody's inside the refrigerator.
Oh, I heard it. That was your
Yeah.
fridge.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, shh.
Maybe it was like, hey, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know.
Feed
But it
me.
does that in the middle of the night. Crazy.
I heard that, man.
Yeah. Do you have?
I gotta say too, because you were saying that some people get really, it was a really hard decision. I did. There was a few years actually that I got really, really, really depressed, and it was probably about 3 years that this was happening. I only played to perform. I didn't pick up my guitar. I didn't really write any material. The shades were drawn. Gained a lot of weight. Got up to like 235, and I think what started that whole venture for me was the girl that I was with for 10 years, healthy, happy relationship. Um, when I told her what I was going to do, her response was, "Wow, that's really weird. What am I going to tell my friends?" And prior to that, I was talking to my adoptive brother as well, and he didn't know that this is what I was going to do. About the first week that I went to see him out in Cali, and he was telling me about a girlfriend that he had that was dating a transgender, and just how weird that is, and messed up, and wow, they must be fucked in the head. And I'm just thinking, oh man, like, this is the big news I wanted to share with you. So getting those responses from the people that I felt should be closest to me, somewhere in my head, I inverted to the child part of myself, and that's being given up at birth, being adopted at 2, and then raised by a family that beat us and burnt us and strangled us and abused us. And it clicked in my head, oh, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of good friendship. It's conditional. I have to be a certain way for people to love me. I have to do the best I could do. And it just sent me kind of down this downward spiral of feeling and thinking. And I really wish I could tell you what got me out of that, but I know that I'm still practicing mindfully positive thinking, and it's been a while. It's been a while since that happened. Even as I transition and the smallest things make me happy. That my arms are getting hairier. I've had this little sun patch right here. I call it the sun. You put it together, it makes a little sun. It's like little blonde hairs and all the rest, you know. And I was snorkeling the other day, and I face planted my snorkel in the water. I was just watching the hairs on my legs billow in the water, you know, just giggling to myself. You know, those things they make you really happy because you see yourself blossoming as you've always seen yourself blossoming. You know, for me, like I've never shaved my legs. I didn't want to shave my armpits either, but that's the, you know, what you're supposed to do as a biological female. You know, it's I'm sure maybe with you too. It's a long road of undoing things that you were taught to do. Because you're born a biological female, then you have to sit with your legs crossed, and you have to talk a certain way, and you have to, um, you know, wear certain colors, and you know, the pink is for the girls, and you know what I mean, like all this crap.
What's
And
it's conditioning that
yeah,
society
exactly,
is
it's
placed
conditioning.
upon us. Social, you know, like you said, girls are supposed to behave a certain way, boys are supposed to behave another certain way.
And play
And
with certain toys.
question yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So it's an undoing of all that's been learned. So it's literally not only a rebirthing of sexual gender, but of the mind as well. You know, and it's so releasing, but it's also so uh, it's like wow, I've learned all this behavior that I never that was never me.
Right.
And so it's like every moment's like an aha moment if you're really, you know, in the moment and realizing what you're paying attention to what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're interacting with people. You
And
know,
sometimes it gets worse before it gets better because when you're in that healing process that you're like in depression, like you said, you got into, and then all of a sudden you got out of it, and then you go into back and forth and certain like, and it doesn't matter how many years because I've transitioned 14 years and I went through a detransition phase because of things that occurred in my new relationship, and I got confused. Well, maybe I'm supposed to act a certain way, maybe I'm supposed to be a woman, and it's just like
oh,
it's never ever ending. It's always a challenge and growth. And
right,
I
right.
believe that the way to get out of that is, like you said, positive thinking. You have to program yourself to think in the positive, to think in the now, not in the past, and not worry too much about the future because that's
Yeah,
very overwhelming. You got to stay in the now
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and think of healing and love and loving ourselves unconditionally.
And I tell you what, that right there is a job in itself. If that was our only job, that'd be enough. Let alone going to work and all that stuff, because that is the work. You know, learning to stay in the moment because there's so much there. There's so much there that's rich and ripe and vibrant and vibrating for us to pay attention to. You know, so it's been a great place to heal being here on the islands. You know,
What island?
being,
Because originally Mark thought that you were on in Hawaii
Hawaii, yeah.
or something.
I was well, I've wanted to go to Hawaii. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
See, and that's the vibe I got.
We
Like,
did too.
yeah, that's the vibe. I'm like, yeah, he's in Hawaii, you
Yeah.
know.
You know, very similar, very similar. You know, I was originally on the island of St. Thomas, you know, living near Red Hook, living on the top of a mountain. It was just gorgeous. And then just moved over here to the island of St. Croix. So it's very different. The island of St. Thomas has a lot of really huge mountains. And St. Croix has mountains, but it's easier to get around it. You know, it's not quite as up and down. It's a little more moderate. You know, in its spacing.
As
So
far as like commercially, I mean, is it more like a local feel than St. Thomas would be?
the people,
Yeah.
um,
And the cruise ships coming in and stuff like that. I know St. Thomas, they cater a lot to the tourists. Is that the
they
same?
do. And the interesting thing is, you know, I've only been here a week or so. But the town is just closed. No idea half the shops were here that are here until a ship came in yesterday. And oh my gosh, does this place come to life? All the it's like walls, and they just have like little wooden shutters, if you will. And then when they open those shutters, whoop, we're open. You know, and there's you know restaurants and you know tourist shops and people out playing reggae music to welcome them off the ship. And well, I tell you, at 5 o'clock when that ship leaves, so does everybody else. It goes back to being a ghost town, which is kind of nice. You know, it's really quiet. You know, you wake up, you hear roosters and chickens, and you can hear the wind and the trees move. You can hear the ocean. I live a block from the ocean, so I was doing some work today. You know, laid in bed here. I was up, but I have a mirror in front of my bed, and I just looked up, and there was a huge lizard in the tree, way up in the tree. So there's so much wildlife here. It's fun to stop, and it's almost like National Geographic. You know, gives you something to do all day. Go out and play.
So you're talking about all your changes and everything, but how have your fans taken the changes?
You know, my fans have been awesome. It's kind of like, not that they've been waiting for this to happen, but once I made the decision, um, they were just like, oh, as they're seeing me progressively change and shift into more me, actually was their words. Quite a few fans was like, wow, it's really cool to see you transitioning more into you. They're like, I can totally see it now. And you know, and especially the people close to me, most of them have been like right on board with it. Um, there's been a couple, like, you know, that they think it's weird and don't understand it, but they also haven't taken the time to sit and talk, or, you know, even to take a moment, and that's okay. I'm sure they'll come around at their own time. You know what I mean? I'm always here to talk to and to help people understand. At first, I was like, I don't need to tell anybody nothing. This is my business. You know what I mean? But the more I move through it, you know, the more I want people to understand. I would like to. Well, it's kind of turning out that I'm going to be a face for this subject and speaking with people about it. You know, nobody wants to do this in their life. You know, this isn't like a choice, and I'm sure you know that, Mark. You know, and you too. You know, it's not something that you want to do. But if you're in the situation that we are, um, it's something that, you know, for me, I had to do. And one of the fans was just kind of missed. She was actually the only one. And I just don't understand. And I don't know if I can support this. You know, you've always been like this way. And it was in that moment I was like, you know what? I'm going to explain something to her. I'm just going to share my life. You know, imagine, you know, you're growing up and you're a girl and you looking around and you're growing up and you see a guy, and just that moment, you know, maybe you're in kindergarten or first grade when you first start developing feelings for the opposite sex, and you start developing, and you know, then you want to go out with that sex, and then now you look down and you're a man. Now how does that feel to you? Because that's exactly what my experience was. You know, I'm a female and I'm being attracted to other women. The things that I like to do, I'm the uh, head player on an all male baseball team. I was a pitcher growing up, you know, played football, you know, these things that I like to do. I wasn't choosing to like women. That's just what I liked. Just like anybody else that's developing and growing. It's never been a choice. So after a while, you know, you get tired of getting chased out of the women's restroom. You know?
And it's deeper than sexuality because, you know, there are a lot of
It's
trans
still,
individuals trans guys that identify as gay and are attracted to men. So it's more of how you see yourself, how you feel comfortable as. When you look in the mirror, you know, are things being aligned with what you feel in your heart? And I think what people need to realize that tolerance, acceptance, and understanding goes a long way. They may not get what we're doing, but
right.
you know, just be civil about it, you know, and
Yeah.
be understanding. And I think that's all that we could ask for, you know, with people. It's just, you know, you may not get us, you may think we're strange, freaks, whatever you want to call it, but realize we're human and part of this
Act
human.
accordingly. We're
Yeah,
all human.
exactly.
That's the bottom line. No matter what, you know, no matter what anybody thinks. And that's something I just got in a kind of heated conversation with a friend. It was a really good conversation though. And I was just saying that I'm so tired of everybody trying to put things in a category. You know, you're you, I'm me. We're really just stripped down to the basics, just energy. You know, I said, I can't wait till my son comes home, and if he brings home a boy and he says, oh, this is Joe and I'm in love with Joe, I'll, cool, Joe, what do you like to eat? I'll make us some dinner. You know, when'd you guys meet? It's not going to be like, this is Joe and I'm gay and I've been wanting to tell you and come out of the closet. None of that matters. What matters is what's inside. And what's inside is just spirit and just energy. You know, the facade and the illusion is the bones and the blood and the skin and the eyes and what we get to see and touch and feel and smell. But as we know that when anyone transcends, it's not what they did while they were here, it's how they made you feel while you were here. And that feeling is energy, and that's what we are. So it's frustrating to me. So I don't want to, I know that help people understand there are categories used, but hopefully one day we won't have that line, that barrier that separates and puts things into categories. We'll just be a
Right.
people. And I know we got a long way to go with that because we're still talking about, the Mexicans and the Latinos and the Negroes and the this and the that. And it just goes on and on and on. But to me, we're just spirits having a human experience.
Exactly. And then people love to judge and they love to put us in boxes. And then we fall for that. Like you were saying earlier, the issues of abandonment. Am I good enough? I want to belong. I want to fit in the box that everybody else fits. And I want to be part of the gang. And, we've got to realize, we are who we are. Like I said, we're spirits having a human experience. That's been I love to use that phrase all the time. And it's all about love, unconditional. Wait, I can't, where is it? Right. Unconditional love, and it's all there is.
Of that, the beauty, just the idea of even that thinking of, oh man, I want to fit in a box and be accepted by everyone. The opposite of that is I don't want to fit in a box and I just want to be who I am, my unique, beautiful, amazing self. And because only you can bring that to the table and then have everybody say, I want to do that. And then everybody's not in a box. Everybody's just doing who they do and being who they be. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of the world. Because if you look around, there's no tree that's the same, there's no flower that's the same, there's no bug or animal that's the same. And that's why it's so magical, because they're just out there being energy and being themselves, being whatever that is.
And you don't see a palm tree knocking down another tree and saying, oh, you don't look right, you don't belong. No,
you got too many coconuts.
They coexist.
Well, you actually sometimes see these trees fuse together.
Yeah, we've seen that in our walks. Yeah,
and they're not the same tree,
but they fused together and became one, because ultimately we are all one.
Yeah. The cool thing about trees too, I guess, is that I just read this or heard this somewhere, is that they interact underground through the roots. And they literally will feed trees some of their nutrition that's small and really far away through their roots. Mm-hmm. I just thought, man, that is so cool. If we did that, man, instead of just walking by things and seeing them hurting or need help. Wow, what a amazingness this would be. This experience, this human experience, this everybody helping everybody. You see somebody that needs some help. I remember back in the day, I saw somebody on the side of the road, pull over, hey man, you cool? You need some help. But now it's just people just drive on by. It's not my problem, but it's everyone's problem.
It is.
Because it really affects us all. Everybody's connected that way. So
the only time that people actually do want to stop and talk to you is to tell you to do something. Like when we were crossing the street today.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you're going the opposite of the green light. And it's like, he's making a right turn. We're in the crosswalk. The light's green, and he has to roll his window down.
Yeah, and it's
right. Or they're really patient when you're trying to pull into a spot. You know what I mean? Or pull out of a spot. They're like, oh no, you take your time, because they want your spot.
It's really sad. It's all the politics, all the finances, and people forget that what's the most important thing in life is human life.
Yeah. I didn't know that about the trans community. Someone asked me to perform at one of the Trans Remembrance Days, and I was all giddy and excited. I didn't know what it was about or anything. I got there and it was just really kind of chill and quiet, and then all of a sudden they're reading these hundreds of names, and what happened to these people? It wasn't like they were killed subtly. it was like they were purposely executed, you know, horribly. Uh, the way that some of the transgender community is extinguished is the word that comes to mind, from people that have fear in their hearts and don't care to understand uh, something that's different. Just sad, you know, just sad. I mean, I'm sure people can do the research on that, but I won't get into that subject. But yeah, it's pretty grim.
Yeah,
Pretty grim.
Transgender Day of Remembrance, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's, you know, mostly happens a lot to MTFs that get murdered. And you know, I think that as a community, because as you mentioned earlier, you were dealing with depression and abandonment. I think a lot of us deal with stuff like that, but we have to pull ourselves out of it because I'm a big believer of law of attraction. I believe
yeah,
that we create our realities by what we think we create. And if we're
yeah,
constantly thinking, well, people aren't going to like us and people are going to want to hurt us and it's hard not to do because it does happen. But I think we shifted our mindset
Mm-hmm.
and look
yeah,
at that glass half full, not half empty. I think that our world will literally change a lot more. And I think we're already doing it. We're seeing a lot more visibility and a lot more understanding towards our community than when I transitioned in 2003. Like people were like, "You're what?" The word transgender wasn't even known. And I think little
yeah,
by little, many of us are waking up and are realizing, "Hey, I'm special. I'm good to go. I'm not some weirdo or anything like that." I think the more of us own who we are, the more acceptance there will be.
Well, I also think that, you know, the religious community, the Christian community that I grew up under, has a no tolerance policy that specific, you know, religious denominations and stuff, and they just don't want to interact with the transgender community. And they just have a very black and white view of what is going on. But if we could somehow paint a picture of a human, not just some cross dresser in North Carolina trying to use their bathroom, you know, we could come a long way. But first of all, we have to be willing to accept that, you know, they have a certain way of seeing things and understanding that, and regardless of how they feel about you, to work to make that more human, you know, a more human face
mm,
to the trans community.
So how's
yeah. And that, you know, I agree with you, and I think that music can play a really big part of that, because music is, you know, as music is vibration, and people respond to the vibration of the music, and then you layer lyrics on top of that,
right.
and you can really grab someone's heart and embrace it, and you know, fall in love with your music, and then realize that you're a transgender. And I think that the coyness there is that they've already fallen in love with you. Unless they're a cold-hearted person in general, they're gonna deal with you anyway. They're gonna end up loving you anyway, because your hearts have identified with each other. You know, you can't go, "Oh, you're that." Well, then no, it's because it's energy and it already did its little magical thing, you know. So I think music can play a really big part of that,
So
connecting.
how's the vibe in where you're at regarding transgender folks? Is there acceptance? Is there community for you there?
There is no community here. Yeah, it's very it's like a third world country. It's very, very poverty stricken here. I just was on the scooter playing around the rainforest a minute ago, and on my way back, I mean, there's just a guy that just kind of was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit right here and just sit and do nothing because I don't have anywhere to go. And I don't have any food." And he was just sitting there leaning against the sign, you know, right there on the sidewalk. There is very kind of, I think there's only like 107 people on the island, and when the ship comes in, you know, I guess there's more people, between 107 to 140 people. It's 83 square miles all the way around, so it's a small island. I think a lot of the brothers know each other here. Um, I personally would feel more comfortable introducing myself and hanging with them if I had my top surgery. I think it's could be kind of risky to do that and not have had it. At least have that, presenting as male. There's definitely, things that happen here. So I kind of stay to myself. I just recently had throat surgery. So it's a good place for me to heal and start singing again and kind of keep to myself. And like I said earlier, I'm going to do an awesome juice fast that was recommended to me by George Xavier Love. He's a Qigong master and has been studying acupuncture and herbs for probably over 35 years now. So I'll be doing that. I'll be swimming. I just bought a weight bench and some weights and be running a little bit and getting back into my MMA katas. Um, so I'm here to just, do me, feel healthy. And, I've met a couple people. I just don't see myself like kicking it here on the island with a lot of people until I get that top surgery. So that's my number one right now.
Are you planning to stay there, or are you planning to return back to Florida?
I think I'm either going to end up in Colorado or San Diego. I hear there's a huge LGBT community in San Diego, and LA is a jump, skip, and a hop away. Something that I've always wanted to do, and when I did finally do it, I was told I was good at it, which I didn't know. But that's acting. I really enjoy acting. I enjoy the arts, and I got to be in a couple musicals and a couple plays. And the thing that was always holding me back was I don't want to play a gay person my entire life, kissing other guys. That's weird. That's, no homo, as we would say. you know. So being a male, it's like heck yeah, bring it on. I'm excited for that. So LA's right there. Um, it's definitely probably where I'll end up. In that area, San Diego area.
Now you mentioned Colorado. What does Colorado have to offer? I know they're a lot more trans friendly.
You know what? As far as the LGBT community, I'm not sure, but I have a really, really great friend there who I haven't seen in a while, and I just wanted to spend some time there. And the mountains are just beautiful, and the people are really kind there. There is a place that I would feel comfortable getting to know other guys and hanging out, even if I didn't have my top surgery, which that's not going to happen because the GoFundMe is happening, and I have faith in that. I know it's going to keep on going on until I can attain the surgeries that I need, So, but I would feel comfortable being there, and the land is nurturing, and my friends are really cool, and I'm sure that anybody that they would introduce me to is going to be good peoples. So,
So what are your opinions like, with regards to, like, I moved from Nashville to Minneapolis, and then people still knew me, my old person and everything. And then when I moved to New Mexico, it was like, other than the accent and people knowing about that, nobody really knew me outside of that. So I think it is important as a trans individual to kind of, reemerge, in a different location, just for your own. Do you think that would be?
I mean, it all
a good
depends.
thing,
In my opinion, it all depends on what.
Well, I mean, I would go back to Florida, but the thing, I have no problem with that. But the thing is for me, is that musically, I've been in Florida for almost 25 years, and it's just a place that's really not supportive of original music, and that's what I do. A lot of cats will mix in a lot of cover tunes and stuff like that. I've never really done that. Too busy writing music, and not only do I write that music, but I also write the violin parts, the cello parts, the flute, the oboes, the bassoons, the French horns, the kettle drums, the bass drum. I write all this, so I don't really want to spend time learning Jack Johnson's new song, so I can go out and make a living. I'd rather make a moderate living doing what I love, which is, writing music, composing music, and performing music. So I need to go where the land is right for that. And San Diego is a big place, especially being right next door to LA. And I'm told that Colorado has some good scene too. So that's why those places are kind of standing out to me.
Well, talking about music, has your music changed any, and has your writing taken a different direction?
You know what? It's interesting you asked that question. Since I got in the deep depression for 3 years, I hadn't written anything since then. I hadn't really picked up my axe. I found myself just being in the routine of booking shows, playing, paying my rent, my bills, just kind of in that mundane, not really feeling it, but just kind of, doing what I need to do. So I set it down for, like I said, probably about 3 years, and just recently started to pick it back up again and identify with why. That's what I do. Just strumming and finding these chords, these vibrations, be it in the piano or the guitar or in this new wooden flute I just got. That's what to me it's all about, because just that's how I usually will start to write a song. Is I'll hit a chord that strikes a chord with me, and I'll just play it over and over and over, because it just makes you feel something. Then you don't know what that feeling is, but you start to build from that feeling. It's like a baby. You have no idea what it's going to be until it's completely done and completely finished. And then you're just kind of in awe. That's one of the most joyful times for me in writing music, is when a song is completed and you know that it's just so, and you're going to be able to sing and relive that moment over and over and over and over, and hopefully be able to lift someone else up and make them feel something that's good, or make them
It's
feel really
It's
that's
very therapeutic, indeed. I mean, I'm a songwriter as well. I've been writing since I was 10. And actually, it's been like 3 or 4 months that we've been picked up our instrument because life gets in the way. Life gets in the way, but it's just one amazing thing. And I, too, don't like to do covers. I like to just do originals. I have over 150 songs that I've written, and it's a passion. It's something that's healing. It's soul food, you know.
yeah.
I wanted
Nothing
to.
against anybody that does, what I mean?
Oh,
Nothing
hey,
against
yeah,
anybody.
everybody does their thing. I mean, we each have
Gotta
our.
make their bread and butter. Don't want to
That's right. Everybody's got
upset
to do what
anyone.
they got to do. I wanted to share one of your one of your actually originals. Let me go in here, and um, it's actually an official music video of. It's called "Who
Oh.
I Am." Okay, so we wanted to go ahead and do that.
Can they still hear me right now?
Yeah.
Uh, I was still in that depression when they were shooting this video. This is up in New York with the Angels Like Rebels label.
Like I'm walking down the street in my own way, at my own pace. With my knees so that I to make my booty sway. I said this way, that way. The twinkle in my eye for everyone I meet. It's who I am. When I look into your eyes, I think you beat me down. Well, I play it around. I make you giggle, do you jiggle, wiggle, tumble down, around to the ground. Well, I'm a searching dictionary, you never do me wrong. It's who I am. That's who I am. I spin to the possibility across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a funky Christian. That's who I am. I spin to the possibility across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a funky Christian. That's right.
I had such a fun time recording this. We ended up flying my band up to New York.
It looks like you had a good time.
We did, man. We had a great time. Ended up recording in a place called the Log Cabin, where Justin Timberlake recorded, Madonna, all the big guys. So it's great to be able to record in such an honorable place.
Will be dismissed. I will tolerate your anger or your ignorance.
Feel Amy Winehouse's spirit there. It's really cool.
Like the rest of you, it's who I am. Who I am, yeah. That's who I am. Spitting truth about liberty across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a funky Christian. That's who I am. I spitting truth about liberty across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a funky Christian. That's who I am. I spitting truth about liberty across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a funky Christian. That's who I am. I spitting truth about liberty across the land. That's who I am. I mix a little rock and roll with a. That's who I am. Who I am. Who I am. I am. Who I am. It's who I am.
To my man.
Yeah, that's, I remember you singing that song live. One of the performances that I went to see of yours in Die. It's a great song. I mean,
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. That's my friend of mine, Bruce Hastings, used to write really funky, rhythmic, rhymey funk, and his style of writing kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. So shout out to my boy Bruce up there in Cali holding it down.
So when did you do that video? How long ago was that?
I want to say that was last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
and you mentioned
Happy to say I've lost what 30, 40 pounds since then. So
Congrats.
35 pounds, 40 pounds, yeah.
and you
Yeah, I
said
saw
you were
that.
still in
Well,
depression.
I was still in that depression when I was flown up there, which was weird. But you know, there's an interview that I did with them. Uh, I didn't realize how closed off I was until I saw that interview. So that was actually a big growing tool for me to see and look at myself and see um, how cornered up in a hole that I was, kind of in that fetal position, not wanting to come out. So that was it was a good experience. It was a good experience. I'm happy that it happened.
So you mentioned that you got out, but you quite don't know what helped you get out of that depression. Is there an insight that you may be able to share with some of our viewers and the younger transgender crowds or older transgender individuals that suffer from depression? Any words of wisdom or what you did?
There's nobody that's going to come and rescue you. There's nobody that's going to come and pull you out. When it breaks down to it, you're the only one that can do that. Just like you're the only one that can really lift yourself up. You can be around other people that lift you up, but it's your choice. There's always a choice. So, the bottom line is it's better to be alive than not. It's better to be able to see these trees and smell the wind and eat good food and be able to laugh even at ourselves than to not have this experience. So it's kind of like, in my case and in a lot of cases I can assume, especially also with drugs, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you got to make that decision to change your life. And it's not something that happens instantly. There's different steps that you take, and everybody has a different way of taking that stuff. I was just talking to a friend the other day that old Martin Luther King saying, well, you don't have to see the entire staircase. You just have to take that first step. And then from there, other things will open up for you. But you have to kind of trust in what you can't see and know what you want. And ultimately, we want to be happy. We want to be accepted. And I think that the first steps of that is to be happy inside and to accept yourself and accept everything that you had to go through to get to the point where you're at now, to help you become who you're becoming, and who you become, whether it's sad and depressed, because some of the most people that have had the hardest times in life have come out as one of the most strongest people, and to be able, because they've been there and they can share that truth with other people that have been there. So there is light, as they say, at the end of the tunnel, but it's really an illusion. Uh, the light is the tunnel, you know.
Definitely. And realizing that we have to be grateful, because we always want, and I want it to look like this, and I want to have this and have that. And in all that want and in all that greed and in all that frustration, we forget to be thankful and grateful for what we do have.
Yeah.
And that's all we
Yeah.
can really hold on to is what we do have. And yeah, we could dream because dreaming is a beautiful thing. But when that dream starts to make you feel depressed and angry and frustrated, and just you can't get yourself out of this paper bag because you're so angry
Yeah.
and fearful and all that, then that's when you start really falling into that deep hole and that depression. And you have to say, you know what? Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how important and how loving you are, and that
Yeah.
you
You know,
know.
something too that really helped me get out of there is, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. You inspired me. Is that when you wake up? When I would wake up, I'd automatically start going into things that I had to do or thoughts. And what helped me to heal and to come out of it was to just lay there for a minute and just enjoy whatever there was to enjoy. The silence, the not thinking about what I had to do, my room, being able to look outside and seeing the trees blowing in the wind. Just stay there for a minute. Just stay there in the divinity of nothingness. And then if you can take that and then waltz over to somewhere that's peaceful, outside your porch, a chair inside, something that's quiet, and meditate. Meditating to me is the key. It's the big facilitator in finding peace. And with meditating, you find, they say, what do you find? Well, you find nothing. You find peace.
It's the
And you
quieting
lose
of the
all the
mind.
anxiety and all the other stuff. I always look at meditation as like if we were a tree. And every morning, if you take the time to center and put your roots into the ground, then when the winds come and the rain comes and the energy comes at you, you might sway and move with it, but you're going to be just fine because you took that time to center and reroot and ground yourself for the day. you know? So things and energies that may come at you, and hey, somebody flips you off because you took your spot or whatever, it just doesn't even have that same effect. It just kind of rolls around. You acknowledge it, but you're able to stay in your space of gratitude. That's so funny. That guy got so pissed off at me. No problem, no problem. Because you took that time is so important. And my friends, Dr. Love and my friend Lucho, who's a shaman out in Colombia, they would always tell me, man, you got to get back into meditating. I'm like, yeah, I know, man, I know. And I finally started getting back into meditation. I'm just like, wow, what took me so long? This is awesome. You have things that get revealed to you. You have insights that you didn't even see coming.
And
So that's one of the ways to really get yourself out is just to start to meditate and just to take time in the morning just to be appreciative that you woke up and that there's nothing going on for that first 5 minutes. And then take your day, you
and
know?
quiet the mind, because I believe that our own thoughts sometimes are our own worst enemy. We put things in our head and we're feeling it, and it's not true. It's just thoughts. So by meditation, you quiet the mind, and then you start hearing your heart speak. It speaks
Exactly.
than your mind.
And that's something else that I've been I guess coming to understand or learning is that we spend so much time in action doing things. And I think that energetically speaking, sometimes we give off two different ideas of what it is that we're trying to tell the universe that we want. We want to be successful, or we want uh, all this whatever it is that we want. So we spend a lot of action doing it and putting out a little, well, I got to do this and I got to do that to attain that, instead of thinking I've already attained it. So when we are energetically putting out the action of thought, it's giving the universe two different diverse things to think about. It's like you want this really bad, which means that you want it really bad, but now you're doing all these things as if you don't have it yet. Whereas if we just take the power of thought, the real power of thought, and say that we already have it. And that's something that I've been practicing with my top surgery, because I started getting down because the GoFundMe lagged for a week, nobody donated, and I went back to but I really want that, and won't they help me? I can't I can't do that, because I think that some of the most successful people in the world think that they already have it. Just think that I already have it and really believe it. I see that. I see me in my new body and how that's going to feel and how my clothes are going to fit. And I have no idea how that's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And to reset yourself back into that state of gratitude, that thought, because your thoughts becomes things, and the action that's behind your thought is, I think, the difference between how fast it comes and how long it comes. What frequencies you're putting out into the universe. Is it, mixed signals, or is that bam, that's what I want. I want to move to California. That's what I'm going to do. No idea how that's going to happen, but that's what I want to do. Homeless kid, me from Flint, Michigan, living in a bush, living in a trash can, addicted to drugs. I want to be a rock star. I want to work with Lenny Kravitz. I want to, meet Jimmy Page, my all-time idol. No clue how that's going to happen. Have I done it? Yes. Yes, I have shared the stage with Lenny Kravitz, and I have had shared a whiskey with Jimmy Page. Never in my wildest dreams. But because I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I listened to Led Zeppelin over and over and over when I was on the streets. And I didn't say that's what I wanted to do. I was just like, man, this cat is awesome. Who is playing this guitar? What's this guy's name? Jimmy what? Jimmy Page? Wow. I'd love to meet him one day. Yeah, one day I'm going to meet him, and bam, not only, have I met him, but I've met his wife and did a fundraiser for them. So it's just directing that power of what is us into really seeing and believing it.
Law of attraction works every single time. You got to visualize it, feel it, own it, and like you said, not say what you want. You already have it. You feel it. You're in that car. You're feeling how that car feels. As you're driving it. You feel your flat chest. This is very, very powerful. I wanted to ask you a little personal question as far as relationship. I know when I met you, you were with a young lady, blonde hair. I don't remember her name. And I think you had broken up with her and started with somebody else. Are you alone at the moment? And is there?
I am single right now. I am single. I dated a few people, but no, I'm single now. I'm dating myself, actually. That's the way I look at it. There's so much to unlearn and so much to rediscover, and it's a, you probably know. It's a minute by minute process. I don't think that I would honestly feel comfortable meeting somebody right now, because I need to meet myself first and discover who that is. And I'm having fun doing that. I'm having a lot of fun doing that, just rediscovering music and picking up my guitar. I just started to hum this song the other day, just 2 days ago, when I picked up my guitar for the first time in 3 years. Started to hum this beautiful tune that just, thank you. And it might be called Sacred Water. That's what's coming out, and it's all and that's really all that I have. But I can tell it's something about going through life. It has to do with the transition, thinking that something is you, and then having to unlearn everything that you've learned. Sacred water. You're cleansed and you're restarting over again, rebirthing, as you will. So yeah, I'm single.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with that.
I put my Om ring on my wedding ring, on my wedding finger. Yeah.
That special someone will come into your life when you're ready. Like, my special someone is right here, and I dreamt her up exactly the person that I wanted. And I've been through a lot of roller coaster relationships and ups and downs, but it's worth the wait, And
Yep. It is, and that's something that I've learned too along this journey, that I did learn with my past relationship, is that my whole life I thought that this journey was about the music, strictly music that can lift me up, that hopefully can lift up other people too. But I realized that that's not solely what it's about. It's about me. It's about me, and getting myself in divine alignment with myself and my new self. This couple years, no, it's been a year. It's been a little over a year. A great friend of mine, Noodles. I met her about 25 years ago, and she's one of the first people I met in Florida, and she introduced me to everybody I know, musically, pretty much. And when I met her, I was vegan and sober and meditating all the time, and she was partying and all that stuff. And I was studying Buddhism at the time, and somehow we switched, and she became sober for 13 years and was going to the Buddhist monks and doing all that. And here I became, partying and all that. And she she had been doing that for 13 years, and she hit a plateau and decided she just wanted to be like everybody else, just have a drink or two, and um, her enlightenment level just, I guess she felt that she didn't have anywhere to go. And it's kind of like, I just want to hang out and be like cool and be accepted and have fun, and she did that. And she just made a bad decision and ended up falling asleep, I believe, in front of a canal, and her car rolled in the canal. She drowned. And it took about a month and a half, but I did find her, and with the help of a lot of other people, we were able to find her. But that always stuck with me, that she just wanted to be like everybody else because she wasn't like anybody else. And when we had the celebration of her life, that space was so packed. There were people outside. There were people that couldn't even see the space that we were all in, because she was so different, because she was so unique and vibrant. Um, so I, shortly after then, put down everything and began my light, began my path towards the light again. And so I've been doing that now for over a year, and it's all because of Noodles. This was her favorite fairy. You see a little fairy there? A little
Yes.
glittery.
Yes.
If you hugged Noodles, you'd be glitter for months. That was just how it was gonna happen. So I made this necklace in her honor. This used to be her favorite fairy. And thank you, Noodles, because I've been sober now for over a year, and I even quit smoking cigarettes. I'm so sober. And I had to be, and I have to be to me to go where I want to go. And then, bam, here comes the music, and here comes transgenderism. I wrote that song American Girl, and it seems to resonate with everyone. They're like, oh my God, what are you going to do? Are you going to change it? And I kind of contemplated it for a minute. I was like, just an American man. Yeah, no, it doesn't quite. And then I started thinking what we were talking about earlier. No, hell no. I'm keeping it American Girl, and I see myself singing American Girl with 100,000 people, 50,000 people, because they love the message. They love the message. And here's a transgender, bearded, mustached man singing American Girl, because if I could, I would take away your pain. If I could, I would, you know, heal
It's
the
part
world,
of
take away the line, see us all as one. And that's what the music's all about.
and it's
Because
about
it's not
tearing
really
down.
American Girl, it is being human.
Yeah, tearing down the gender boxes and tearing down. It's like when I did the
Exactly.
transition that I got in touch back with my female side, it was a very healing moment because I think that I fought against being a girl for the longest time, that the situation in my relationship brought that girl back, and it was there for a moment, 3-4 months. I embraced it, I healed, and then I was able to become my male self again. And it's our journey. We can't say, well, this part of the journey never existed, because then you're taking really a deep part of you that is part of you, little bits and pieces that we put together makes us whole. We can't.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I find that um, it's the duality and the yin and yang of the vibration of our energies as being male and female, because we all are male and female. That's just the way that we're made up. So I think it's really healthy and honest, to embrace, for me, that I am biologically a woman, because I wouldn't have never understood that I am internally a man if I didn't have the experience of being a woman. So I have to treasure both
Oh no. Are you there?
Oh no, we lost
of
her.
these days. Are we
Oh,
there?
Yeah,
Back?
we're there. There we go.
yeah.
All right,
We're back.
just got a call. Um, we have to embrace, at least for me, that I am a woman and that I had to be a woman in order to understand that I'm a man. Um, that's just my own experience. You know, everybody has their own thing, but I think it's really important that we love ourselves for who we are. We can't dismiss one thing and like another thing. You know, it's important to encompass who we are as a whole and love ourselves. You know, or else you're going to spend, you know, the rest of your life hating what you were. You know, what do you? Wait a minute, well, that's not what I was. You know, that's what I am. So, you know, to me, it's just, I'm excited. I'm happy. Um, Besides getting to re-know who I am, it's already feels like a rebirthing. Everything that I have always wanted is happening. Always wanted hairy arms. I always shaved my, you know, face to try to get a mustache. It just never happened. I always wanted the low voice. No, it didn't happen. no, you know, so and now I don't get screamed at for using the women's restroom because I use the men's. And I used to do that before, you know what I mean? But now with the little mustache and goatee, it does help a little bit. But you know, it's just me being me, and that's what we're doing. We're just souls wanting to first of all accept ourselves, and then be out in the universe and being loved and cherished and adored and nurtured by everyone, no matter what color or gender. That's our purpose here. I believe that is to love each other.
Now you have
Bottom.
a GoFundMe to help you, like you said before, with the necessary procedures that you're about to embark on. Can you tell us a little bit more details about it?
About the GoFundMe page?
Yeah, and the procedures that you're looking to go through.
Yeah, I want to after I'm planning on losing a lot of weight from my fast and things like that, but there is also a procedure that he does called man sculpting. And that's pretty pricey. Also, from doing research, and I guess everybody's to their own thing. I personally, my whole life, I've known I'm never going to have a baby because men don't have babies, and that's for me personally. So I, you know, so a hysterectomy also is for me. Um, and if they were to come up with a bottom surgery that is a little more acceptable, I should say. I don't know, man. I've seen some stuff, man. I'm like, oh, that looks so painful. Dang, you know, I'm
Well,
hoping
and nothing like the real McCoy.
yeah, you know, but even the real McCoy, you know, like you go online and like, what's it, Real Magic putting a plug out there for those guys and prosthetics, you know, they're talking 2 grand just for your junk in your trunk down there, you know. So, you know, everything is really pricey, but I believe that, you know, people will come together and help because I mean, it's in our nature to do that. So just putting that out there that everybody, you know, I mean, shoot, for the cost of taking your honey bunny out to eat and some drinks, you know, you could change a life, you know. So
On our website, we've created a page for you, and on that page, people can go and click. Again, you're the second interview on the first guest page, and if they go down below here and they click right there, it takes them directly to,
oh, that's killer.
yeah,
Wow.
it takes them
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that, Mark.
anytime, anytime. And like you said, you visualize it, and before you know it, you'll be there. You're already
Yep.
there.
I'm gonna be borrowing your shirts, bro.
Uh, You're already there. So, this whole thing about the bathroom bill that's been going on and the animosity towards those of us in our community, in spite of all the recent education and trans exposure we have seen, what do you have to say about that? I mean, the bathroom, it's like, why are people so worried about where we piss?
You know, that's just it's silly. I know it's not. That to me, it's just another thing for people to huff and puff about. I mean, it's you know, if you look like a dude, go use the dude's restroom. You know, If you look like a woman, then go use the women's restroom. It's just that simple. I don't think that there should be a special bathroom for the special people. You know, I mean, because there are some special people that could have their own bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like little axe or something, little knife and shit on the little. Okay, that's where the murderers go, or that's where the people that yell at you all the talk. You know, like shit. Really, it's just another way of segregation, and it's just another thing that's you know, it's a distraction from what's really important, you know, to me. You know, like, I don't want to get into politics, but there's other crazy people that are trying to get in other houses, so to speak. We need
Which
to be a
is
little more
being
concerned
used.
with that type of thing that's going on rather than, you know, who's using what's bathroom. Personally, I wouldn't want to, if I was a chick, be using the bathroom and see me in there, you know, beard and mustache and dude and hold my junk out. Like, no, thank you. No. You know, even it's interesting when I was growing up, I think it was like elementary school, the girls in the neighborhoods would have sleepovers, you know, and at that age I, you know, I already knew what was up. And, you know, all the girls would change into their nightgowns and stuff, and I would always go to the bathroom and I would change into my nightwear because I didn't feel that that was proper at that time for me to be seeing that, you know. So same thing with the bathrooms. If you don't, you know, that's not something you should be seeing as a man. You're not going to walk into the women's restroom, you know. A biological man wouldn't walk into the men's restroom, and you're not supposed to be in there, right? So why would we be in there? We aren't supposed to see that either. That's
Well,
private area for women, you know, and vice versa for men. That's just simple,
yeah,
you
it's
know, to me.
politics, and they're using that politics to get other things. You know, it's politics is dirty, and like you said, politics is just one of those things. I don't like politics.
Well, they tie it up into some kind of, you know, like in Mississippi, they tied it into like a religious freedom bill.
Hmm.
And they make it like, well, it's not about the trans people. It's about the freedom that we would have to be able to live our lives without having those people, you know. And it's like, you know, what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to legislate transgender out completely. That's what they really want in these bills. They don't. It's not about the bathroom. It's about like not allowing us to exist. But the truth of the matter is that we have existed for thousands of years, and will continue to exist for thousands more.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. You know, it's the same old song and dance. I feel in the political areas, whenever you see something different, you have to try to isolate it and then extinguish it. And it never works. We always end up overcoming. You know, and unfortunately, you know, the people in power that be sometimes, you know, back that kind of segregation up. But then we have the beautiful people, you know, like Martin Luther King, and people that are writing music that bring people together, like John Lennon and others. You know, um, I know that there's been a couple of musicians. I think Bruce Springsteen canceled his tour over to North Carolina because of it. I think someone else is going to go there, but they're going to donate all of the money that people paid in tickets towards the LGBT community. People are aware of what's going on, and people that have love in their hearts, that want to see equality for every human being, are doing something about it, and that's a beautiful thing to see. I wouldn't say so quickly, but so quickly, you know, in the game before it just gets out of hand, because you know, it was starting to go that way.
Well, Mark told me that, you know, you guys are like brothers because, you know, you have this same kind of spiritual connection, and you're a very spiritual person, just like Mark is. Do you find that being transgender is part of spiritual expression and growth of your soul? Can you elaborate on that if it is?
I will, and my battery just said low, so I'm just gonna put the little chargy thing in here before
Okay.
something weird happens. Sorry, guys.
Not a
All
problem.
right.
Gotta pause for the cause.
Not a problem. While we're doing that, we could probably play a little music here.
All right, here we go.
That.
Bam. Huh.
Oh, the video's not back yet.
There, is that better?
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
me just touch. Okay, yes. Woo, came close there. Okay. So I think that you were asking, is transgender a part of the spiritual journey?
Yeah, yeah. And if it is, can you elaborate on that? Like the part where, is it a spiritual expression more than it is just some outer shedding? And is it a growth of our soul? I mean, what is involved, do you believe?
I'm still kind of at the beginning of my transition. I would probably be able to better answer that later on down the road. But I would say that, you know, anything that has to do with your being and your spirit and your soul is definitely going to be a part of your transition, whether you're transitioning from female to male, whether you're transitioning from depression to gratitude and happiness, whether you're transitioning from, a heavy person to being active every day. I think and all that is connected to spirit. So for me, yeah, definitely transitioning has had a lot to do with spirit combined with, losing my friend Noodles, my best friend Noodles, and becoming sober so I can be present for this part of my transition and pretty much the rest of my life, and to be able to be in the moment and start to um, see all the changes in my body and the way that I'm thinking, and old habits. And yeah, it's a great spiritual journey. Life is a spiritual journey. I think if you're living it right, it is a spiritual journey. And along and combined with, the drugs and the alcohol, those things are also combined with spirituality, because we tend to, when we are hurting, we like to numb that pain with something. At least I did. And so to be able to feel again is something really, really big in in my life. I went from being like a very lightly emotional woman to being a highly emotional man, and I think that it's helped me become more honest in my relationships with people that I either date or that I know. So in that sense, it has been a huge part of my spiritual growth, learning to understand myself, and being able to start to feel again for the first time in a long time, and to feel things the way that I'm made to feel them is something too. It's really special.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Oh, I see myself leading and being a voice for the transgender community, which I never thought would happen. I'm a very private person, never wanted to be put in a little box, but if I have to be something, or if they're going to put me in a box, then I guess I'm a transgender male, and I'll embrace that. Um, and I want to be a voice for that. And I am becoming a voice for that just by you having me on the show. Thank you guys, and for continuing to do music. I'm sure that my music already is combining spiritualness with my transition. So that's going to be something that's going to flow outwardly, that a lot of ears are going to hear, to help them identify with, like I said, the transition that we all go through, not just male to female, but all those transitions in everyday life that everybody goes through. Um, so, yeah.
I see the guitar back there. I was wondering if you could strum a few lines of
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Is there something you got?
You know what, too? And I got this really cool wooden flute. I got to play this for you. It's so pretty. I'm part Native American Indian, and I've always wanted a wooden flute. And me and my girlfriend at the time, Vienna, who's awesome and amazing. I love you, my heart. Great, great friend, great person, old spirit. She actually was someone that really helped me figure out what that I was a transgender male. So I love you. Peace, deuces. But we recently went out to Naples to celebrate my birthday, and we found this wooden flute in a place called the White Eagle, and it's made of cedar. I always smell it. But
Wow.
yeah, I don't really know how to play, but I can play a little toot toot song here.
Wow.
Very, very nice.
That's my flute.
Music is amazing, and it's part of the journey. It's part of everything is frequency, everything is energy. And I think one day I have hope in my heart that human beings will finally realize that we're all connected, that we need to put our egos aside and heal and love and nurture one another. And that's when
Awesome.
shift is going to definitely happen. Definitely. So, anything else you'd like to add? I know your GoFundMe viewers, please go ahead and visit Teri's page and click on there, and and just donate your hearts away because.
Yeah, I'm excited for I'm excited for this transition to manifest through the GoFundMe. I'm looking forward to being able to speak about life as just being a spirit and human being, and having people be able to identify with the transgender people as just being people and spirits, just like you, just like me. And if you walk up to any kid and you say hello and you play, that kid is gonna play with you and have fun with you. Prejudice is a taught thing. There's no categories when you're a child. And that's the secret, I think, to growing older, younger, is to keep the child within alive and to identify with people, with the child in your heart, as far as nurturing and love and acceptance goes. Remember those days before you were told what to play with and what colors to like. Go back in your memory, your programmed mind before it was programmed conditionally. And remember how free that was to feel and to accept things and how exciting, what a magical time it was. I think of there's so many beautiful people in the world and eccentrically odd people that, if you are trained and conditioned to think that's odd, well, then you'd probably never meet the Einsteins of the world or the Herbie Hancocks of the world or the Stevie Wonders of the world or, or the Dollies, Salvador Dali's of the world, because they're considered insane. But who says that? And then we want to appreciate their art. Well, why don't we appreciate them
We need
and
to
their art?
we need to step away from fear and know that it's okay to be ourselves. And I think there's no coincidence what's happening in the world. The shift is taking place that there's mounds and mounds of transgender people coming out and people expressing their gender queerness. They're different. They don't want to fit in a box. They want to be different, and it's okay to be different. And the time is now. The time is now for that change, for that shift to take place.
There's a huge shift going on with the Earth too, and the planets and everything aligned and shifting. I believe that's causing a tension in everyone. It's causing a restlessness. It's causing a pressure, if you will, to it either pushes you down and you allow it and you go down, or it pushes you down so far that you just got to come up. And there's a divide, I feel, that's happening in the world today. And the people that are going to rise are beginning to rise, and the people that are going to fall are beginning to fall. And it's just at the beginning of that synchronicity, if you will, of change. And I think that we see it every day when we go out into the day, if we're receptive to it. You know, and we have friends like that too. You get on the phone with them and everything's a spiral going down, and you just know that there's nothing that's going to be positive that happened. And I think that's another part of our jobs, to lift each other up, and to remind us why we're here, which is ultimately to love, because the opposite of love is fear. So we can either live in fear or we can live in love. And I tell you, boy, love is so much more colorful and fun, magical and happy and emotional. And it's so great to feel emotions again. For me personally, I know I was like a hard badass, out of Flint, Michigan, fighting and, seeing a lot of people get shot and stabbed and killed and murdered and all kinds of stuff. And that there's a time and a place and a purpose for everything. So if that's where you're at right now, then that's where you need to be. And sometimes shields can help you survive through certain circumstances of your life. But you have to be aware to know when it's time to start setting those shields down and start opening yourself like a flower into a new way of existence and being in the world, because that shield no longer serves you. You see, now it holds you back rather than letting you move forward. So I think
True words
that's
spoken, my brother. True words spoken. Definitely. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time and thank our viewers. And please remember to visit Teri's page on our website, GoFundMe. And hope next time I talk to you,
yeah, I'm stoked, man. I'm really, really excited to be moving forward. I just want to tell everybody, if you remember one thing from tonight's talk, just know, from me to you, what I've learned is to know that love is all there is all you need to know. So God bless, and I hope to see you guys soon, man.
thank you. Take care.
Stay
Good
tuned.
night, everyone. Thank you. And yeah, if you can't live your truth,
And it's just not worth living.
and we love you. But always remember to
Always
love yourselves too. Good night. This here.
And there's the dog.
I can see it clearly, spread across the sky. Answers to your question.
That was cool.
Feel